welcome to a third edition of the Dadcast for this week. Just some more stuff coming to light. Like I said, when stuff pops up and I have the time and bandwidth to do an extra Dadcast, I'm going to do it because we're going to talk about some cool... Oh no, what the heck just happened? I was like, my notes just disappeared on my laptop. I was like, oh no. But yeah, so some cool little stuff popped up. And also, this week's Dadcast is sponsored once again by GutsyLittleMama.com. For those of you who don't know, it's a bookish website. They sell jewelry, shirts, stuff this is mostly for you geeky girls out there who read ACOTAR and Sarah J. Maas stuff and books like that. Got some cool jewelry pieces, some cool sweatshirts, shirts, stickers. Pick them up. Full disclosure, it's run by my wife, so you're also helping out this channel when you go there and shop. Christmas is right around the corner, gentlemen. If you got that bookish, nerdy girl who loves that kind of fantasy stuff that Sarah J. Maas provides, check it out, GutsyLittleMama.com. Use code NintenDad64 to save a little bit off your purchase. So thank you, honey, wife, for sponsoring this week's video. She does have a big drop going on this weekend, so definitely want to get that checked out because that shop is only open today, Friday, which is going live today, through Sunday. So if your wife, girlfriend, significant other, or even you love those kind of books and want some jewelry and apparel to go with it to show your fandom, check out GutsyLittleMama.com. Link will be in the description below, along with the code. Now, on to the rest of the podcast. In the first Dadcast this week, talked about some Switch leaks from factory in China, and I think the very next day, we got some images of 3D printed prototype properties of the Nintendo Switch 2, possibly. I mean, again, all rumors. And I'm not going to show them here because I've noticed when I was prepping for this podcast that I couldn't really find the images from reliable sources on Twitter and things like that. So I don't know if Nintendo's striking those videos or anything like that. And since I'm a small little channel still trying to grow, not trying to get any copyright strikes from Nintendo. So there won't be any images of those just in case. But the Joy-Cons do look very much like the current Joy-Cons, just a little bit bigger. The screen size of the prototype is bigger, but for the most part, it kind of just looks like just a larger Switch. So maybe that's what the Switch 2 is going to be, just a larger, more powerful Switch. There has been rumors of somehow a dual screen in there. That was not in this leak. At least none of the tweets or anything, videos I watched on it didn't show a dual screen at all. But I mean, that might be not at this factory and might be put together somewhere else. So there's still a possibility for it, but no confirmation. And there's no confirmation that these 3D printed parts are real either way. So again, but last time this happened with the original Nintendo Switch, when we started to get leaks like that, Nintendo dropped the trailer and everything like that. So maybe, just maybe, and a lot of the big Nintendo YouTubers out there are speculating that we are going to be getting some sort of Nintendo Direct in the very near future to announce the Switch 2. I hope they call it the Super Switch. Let's go back to that naming. We had Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Let's go Super Switch. The Nintendo Super Switch, or Super Nintendo Switch. Super Nintendo Switch. That's what I want. I don't want it to be Switch 2, but that makes the most sense since we did the Wii U, and that was kind of a bungle, and PlayStation has just been calling their systems 2, 3, 4, 5 now, with Pro and Slims in there. So that has worked out well for Sony. So Nintendo probably should follow suit there. More leaks, possible leaks for the Nintendo Switch 2. So I just want the system, Nintendo. This is the worst kept secret in gaming. I know you want to pass the PlayStation 2, and I feel that is why you are holding off on announcing the new Switch. I get it. It's business. You want to make as much money off the current Switch as you possibly can. So I understand. But God, do I just want the new Switch so I can play it. And as a Nintendo collector, I'm not going to get rid of my old Switch. That is going to stay. I don't know if I'll play it much because I'll have the new Switch, but I'll still have that Nintendo Switch. Hopefully, I'm hoping my Genki mini dock works with that too. I mean, it should, because not only does that work with the Switch, it works with iPads, it works with cell phones, it works with Steam Decks and ROG Allies and stuff like that. So it still should. So I just hope that does. But yeah, Switch 2 leaks coming. Also, this breaking today from Sega, there's going to be a new Yakuza game. It's Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It is coming February 28th, 2025. It looks like a lot of fun. Anybody who watches this channel, you know there's the complete Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth on this channel. I play all the Yakuza games. That was just the only one out when I started doing streams. I plan on going back and playing the remasters though on Twitch, and then I'll upload them here. But I love the Yakuza series, so any kind of wacky game from them, like a pirate game, a modern pirate game in Hawaii, that should just be a blast. So looking forward to that. I'll link the trailer in the description below, so you can go ahead and check it out for yourself. And then we've got Pal World being sued by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, and this is not a likeness or copyright violation, it's patent violation. So something in the gameplay mechanic, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company believe that they're infringing on their patents. So, I mean, remember back a few months ago when Pal World first started making waves, Nintendo tweeted out they were aware of the game and they were looking into it. So I guess they've been taking their time looking into it, and they found something that violates one of their patents, which I know people get really annoyed with how sue happy Nintendo can be, and it's not really Nintendo's fault in this matter. It's kind of the way governments and copyrights are set up, because Nintendo was sued. I mean, this is why they're so sue happy when it comes to things like this. Nintendo was sued by Universal Pictures over Donkey Kong, over likeness rights, or not likeness rights, copyrights, for King Kong. But because there had been so many King Kong things that had come out since the original 1930s movie that Universal took no action over, then that made their copyright void and public domain for Nintendo to do Donkey Kong. And so Nintendo learned a very valuable lesson there. You got to protect your copyrights, because if you are lax and you do not protect those copyrights, then your items can fall into the public domain and be used by the people. So that's why Nintendo takes down ROM emulators, and they're suing Power World over patents and things like that. And it's one of those spicy gray areas, because my whole thought process with like ROMs and emulation, I've got no problem with people going back and getting older games that you can no longer physically or digitally in a lot of cases buy from the publisher, from the game makers and such. You can only go out and buy expensive used copies from people, which is fun because, as you can see, I like playing physical media. But at the same time, there are games that are just wildly expensive that I want to play and others want to play, and we can't legally buy them from Nintendo or Square Enix looking at you. Give me a damn Switch port of Chrono Trigger. But yeah, so if I cannot buy them from the company, and my only option to play them, like Marvel vs. Capcom that just came out, is spending $200 to buy a Dreamcast or an Xbox or PlayStation 2 copy, I mean, why wouldn't people want to just download the ROMs for those? So it's one of those things, like, I get why Nintendo takes down those ROM sites, because they have to protect their copyright and things like that. But also at the same time, I don't blame people who play older ROMs, because the current games the older games are no longer available from the publisher, from the game maker, and the only way to actually play those games other than ROMs is to hunt down an expensive copy of a game to try to play it. So it's kind of one of those double-edged swords there, catch-22s for me. It's like, I understand, and technically it's a legal gray area there, but at the same time, some of us just want to play games, and we have no other way of playing them other than downloading ROMs. So, I mean, me personally, I like to play the physical hardware when I can, but there are some games that I can't afford to buy, or it's just, or it's not feasible to buy. Yeah, I could maybe afford that game, but then, I got to put other stuff on the back burner. And when you have a wife and kids and a mortgage and things like that, buying $200, $300 video games because you wanted to play them, that's a luxury. That's a luxury a lot of middle-class families do not have. So definitely agree with a lot of those people, but I'm not a big fan of pirating like new games, current games that you can buy from the publisher and the game makers. I mean, if everybody pirated games and such like that, then we wouldn't get any new games because it costs money to make these games. And I mean, if people are just too many people are going to steal them and you can't make money off of them, then you're not going to make the game. So I'm good with people doing ROMs and things like that for older games, especially older games you cannot buy digitally from the current game makers. But yeah, let's not pirate new games, okay? Let's not do that. But yeah, so that's why Nintendo is constantly taking down those sites, because they have to protect their copyright. Because technically speaking, ROMs and such are a copyright violation, even if you can't buy the games. I mean, like I said, legal gray area there, kind of catch-22, especially morality-wise. But I totally get why people do it, and I'm not saying that I do it, but I'm saying I'm not buying $200 video games, at least not anytime soon. If this channel takes off, maybe. But until then, not going to do it. So, yeah, so Power World is getting sued by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, and it's over patent, not copyright. So it's not about the characters. It's something about the gameplay mechanics. And I don't know what that is because I haven't really dove deeply into Power World. I tried it, and I was just kind of like modern Pokemon games. They're just not for me anymore. Like, I loved Pokemon back in the day, but I can't. If I'm gonna do like a JRPG style turn-based game, I need a great story and things like just to suck me in, because those battle systems and the exploring can suck you in a little bit, but at the same time, those just don't suck me anymore. I really want a very good story to go along with it to like entrench me into the grinding and things of that nature, like a Chrono Trigger. Square Enix, how about we get that going on the Switch? You can just port the SNES version. I don't even need I would love a physical version of like the DS or the PlayStation port with the anime. Did the DS have the anime? It's been a while since I played my DS version. Maybe. But either way, let's do it. Let's get that done. So that's it on the lawsuit. And we've got 2 items left. One of the items, while I was searching for pictures on the interwebs of the 30th anniversary Sony stuff, which I'm going to get to in a second, I came across Colin Moriarty. He's on Twitter at Long Island Viper. And he tweeted this out, and it's part of his podcast, Sacred Symbols. So go check that out if you want the full story. But so he tweeted out, "I spoke extensively with someone who worked on Concord, and it's so much worse than you think. It was internally referred to as the future of PlayStation, with Star Wars-like potential, and a dev culture of toxic positivity halted all negative feedback, making it cost $400 million. Wow. So, I mean, I have not played Concord, but, I mean, hero shooters just aren't my bag anymore. I just don't have the time to play them anymore. I used to love playing Overwatch with my friends, and even Sean, him and I would play it. And, but I just don't have the time really to play all those multiplayer games anymore. Well, sometimes I have the time, but I don't like playing those games with randos. I like playing with my buddies. And when you get to your 30s and 40s, any young people out there watching, sometimes it becomes difficult, especially when everyone has kids and wives and husbands and girlfriends and such, to coordinate times to really play those games. So it's an unfortunate thing. So it's like Concord I was going to pass on anyways, because I don't have PlayStation Plus. I own a PlayStation to play single-player story-driven games like the Final Fantasy games, God of War, Spider-Man, and such. So I don't really multiplayer on that. So, but just from what I've heard about Concord, I mean, they've already shut it down, so no one was playing it. So it's not like I missed out. But for the people who did play it, just very mediocre shooter that a lot of free-to-play shooters are just much better than. So that's why it got shut down. But yeah, just seeing that you couldn't say anything negative about it, during development, and they, for whatever reason, thought this was the future. It took, something 8 years to make, and the hero shooter genre is already kind of on the downtrend. That it's just, what is Sony doing when it comes to game making? I know, as far as like the hardcore gamers go, console gamers, PC people don't at me. As far as the hardcore console gamers go, like, I get it, you're number one, but I mean, you had that hubris with the PlayStation 3, and the Wii and Xbox 360 came out of the gates whooping your ass. I know at the end Sony did edge out the 360 in total sales, but a lot of those sales were people just buying a cheaper Blu-ray player than spending $600 on a Blu-ray player. When you got those price cuts to the PS3, especially at the slim model, you can get a Blu-ray player for like $200, and it was one of the better Blu-ray players. So that generation, I feel, as far as the hardcore gamers go, because the Wii won that generation hands down, but for the hardcore gamers, 360 won that generation on a technicality, mind you, but they still won. Asterisk, you want to put that there, but they technically won that one. But no, I mean, I feel Sony's getting cocky again with the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro, the lack of games coming out this year for the PlayStation. Just kind of shows, I feel they are getting a little cocky in that, especially with something like Concord, somebody at Sony was like, yeah, this is going to be the best. And I know Astrobot just came out, and everyone was loving it, but I feel that is indicative of the lack of Sony-produced games coming out for the PlayStation, just because when it came out, everyone was talking about it, and no one's talking about it anymore. Like, I don't see anything about Astrobot anymore. And that's not to say it's not a good game. I'm actually going to check it out eventually. But it's just kind of funny. It's like, that's just a platformer that people enjoy playing, and it seems to be a very fun time, which is why I'm going to check it out eventually. But yeah, it's just, Sony's known for like games like The Last of Us, like Spider-Man, like God of War, and those are the kind of games people want from Sony, and they're just not getting them right now. And Sony, then, they, for whatever reason, think the future is these live service games, which, again, something that's also on its way out, thankfully. So they are very determined to make that a thing. And when you invest $400 million into a game that you shut down 2 weeks into its live service, then you got to really rethink things. So I don't know what Sony's doing over there when it comes to games. It's one of those things, like, I was even contemplating, it's like, do I really need my PS5 right now? Because when I have my Xbox, I mostly play games on there from Game Pass. I buy games periodically for my Xbox, but pretty much anything I play on the Xbox is Game Pass. I would say now my main gaming console is my Switch. I play that probably more than anything. And my GameCube. I've been playing a lot of GameCube lately. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, I was just thinking the other day, I was like, what do I need my PS5 for? Because really, the only exclusive PlayStation game that I can think of that I want for it in the near future, and it might not even be that near, is the Wolverine game coming out from Insomniac. But I'm also, as I talked about in my PS5 Dadcast, I'm thinking about building a gaming PC anyways for the next generation. So that'd be one of those things. They talked about it on Inside Games, like both Bruce and Lawrence talked about. Yeah, just wait a year for those games. Like, PlayStation brings them to the PC eventually, so I mean, you'll have a better experience on your PC. So that's something I might do, because I've kicked around the idea of getting like a ROG Ally Z1 Extreme for handheld PC gaming in the interim before buying an actual PC, and having something like that with the game file, I can play it on the ROG Ally or then play it on my PC, and it's a better experience than using the PlayStation Portal, which I have, which now that I've got Ethernet up in the attic, it works a lot better than it did coming off the PlayStation, going to the Wi-Fi, and then playing it off the Wi-Fi, so it does work better that way. But yeah, it's just one of those things, like, I don't even know if I want my PS5 anymore. I mean, I'm going to keep my Xbox Series X regardless because of Xbox Ultimate, because the games will be on Xbox, and then I can also play them on the PC, so it's kind of just how I want to play it. Especially if I do the ROG Ally first, I can play certain games there and get, cheaper games from like Steam, GOG, Epic Store. In fact, Did I check Epic this week for their free games? I've been building my catalog of free games from like Prime Gaming, Epic Store, or cheap games from Steam. Just building a library so when I get that ROG Ally, I got games right away to play. But yeah, so I've just contemplated, like, do I need my PS5 anymore? So it's just been one of those things just tooling around in my head, like, with the PS5 Pro coming out, if I sell it before a lot of people start selling theirs to get a PS5 Pro, I can probably get a decent amount of money for it, sell my Portal, everything that goes with it. Haven't really made the decision on that one, but it's been an idea I've been kicking around because I don't use it that often. I'm like, after I'm finished playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth and 16, it's really gonna collect dust probably until Wolverine comes out, unless PlayStation does a huge sale on some games that I've missed in the recent years. Like, even though I played Final Fantasy 5, The Phantom Pain, not Final Fantasy 5, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and I think 100%ed the initial release on my Xbox. Last Black Friday, PlayStation had the definitive edition with the added levels and chapters that you don't actually play, but you just kind of get. It was like $3, so I bought it and been meaning to play it. So yeah, so unless like PlayStation does a huge sale like that for some games that I missed or that I want to add, I don't know if I'm going to be playing it much until the next Wolverine game comes out. So that's why I've been kicking around that idea from Sony, because they're just not putting out like exclusives that I have to have, kind of thing like that. Like I said, I'll probably give Astrobot a chance at some point, but it's not one of those games that, I want to play because I'm not attached to that IP at all. 3D platformers, like I've got Mario. I like playing my Mario games and a lot of platformers on the Nintendo Switch that I play, so it's not something that I want to drop $60 or $70 on, whatever the MSRP is on Astrobot. So Sony's just getting a little cocky, and what was Microsoft's problem for pretty much this entire generation is just lack of games, lack of killer apps. Sony's kind of going through that right now, and I know games take a while to make, so it's not like I'm shitting on them for taking their time, but at the same time, I want something to play, and I don't have anything to play for that system. But that segues right into the perfect item, is Sony's 30th anniversary. Now, I will say this: if I do not sell my PS5, I do want the 30th anniversary DualSense. That looks awesome. But yeah, so the 30th anniversary, we're gonna get a PS5 Slim, which it doesn't come with a disc drive, but it's going to come with the disc drive cover. So if you buy the disc drive, you've got the gray cover to go over instead of having like a mismatched white, which I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they included the cover so that way you don't have to try to get the digital version, and then if they just did like a special disc drive to try to get both those to have a disc drive, because that would have really sucked for people. I've got the digital version, but the disc drive sold out, so I don't have the gray and things like that. So I'm glad the digital version comes with the outer casing for the disc drive, so you just have to buy any regular disc drive from Sony. But yeah, so they've got that bundle. They've got a PS5 Pro 30th anniversary, which as of recording, I could not find prices like actual prices from Sony. So I don't know if these are going to be a little more expensive. They just raised the price of the DualSense to $75. I could see that controller easily being $85 because of the 30th anniversary. But like I said, the DualSense, the Dual Edge, the PS5 Pro, I already said that, and a Portal. Do I have my Portal? No, I don't have my Portal handy. My Portal is downstairs. I actually like the white in the Portal. That's like the only thing that they showed that I was like, if I wanted one, I was like, I can easily pass on that one, because just the gray Portal, what I like about the Portal, it looks so sleek and futuristic with the white. The gray makes it look old, so I could easily pass on the PS5 Portal. But the DualSense looks awesome, and I want one of those. So if I decide not to sell my PlayStation 5, I'll probably get a DualSense. Shoot, I might even buy a DualSense anyways, even if I'm still undecided, because I'm sure selling that and the DualSense 30th anniversary will net me a pretty penny. Not trying to scalp or anything like that, but knowing if I bought it and decided I didn't want it anymore, I could make a profit on it. But yeah, if I did not have a PlayStation 5 already, I'd be very tempted to get the Slim and buy a disc drive. And I know what you're saying is like, why not just go for the Pro? Because again, it's like, even if I didn't have a PlayStation, like spending that much on the Pro, just nothing about what I've seen from the Pro, I know Digital Foundry did comparison videos and things like that. Nothing about it makes me want to spend the extra with the disc drive, extra like $300, $400, something like that. And that's not to take into this 30th anniversary special edition tax that I'm sure Sony's going to do, because I've seen a lot of tweets like people aren't ready for what Sony's going to charge for this bundle and stuff like that. So it's one of those things, like, even with if I didn't have one, the 30th anniversary, which is really cool looking, mind you, not discrediting that at all, just spending that extra money. If I were to get a 30th anniversary PlayStation, I'd probably opt for the Slim and then pick up a disc drive just to save a couple $100. Because again, the way I look at things like that couple $100, that's several games you can buy, not just for your PlayStation, but if you've got multiple systems, you can use that money to buy other games, which is just why I can't justify the extra money the Pro is. And no judgment on anybody who's getting a Pro, but yeah, like I said in the Dadcast where I talked about the PS5 Pro alone, I think this is my last generation with Xbox and PlayStation. I think definitely when I get the itch to play next-gen games, when the 6 and whatever the hell Xbox is calling their next system come out, I'll probably start building a PC. Like, I might even buy if I see a cool shell on sale from Newegg, I might buy a shell now and slowly get parts over time, so that way it's a little bit cheaper, and then I'll wait on the GPU and graphics card for last, because that is something I would want to be not necessarily the latest and greatest, because I know those always cost a ton of money, but something close to the latest and greatest that will be foolproof for the next several years when it comes to like new games and things like that, and playing them as the best possible way I can play them. So yeah, the console market's starting to price me out. It's starting to be like, well, if I just buy a PC when new stuff comes out, I can just upgrade graphics card, I can upgrade GPU, and just piece by piece upgrade, instead of buying an entirely locked box thing, which is also, you can upgrade your memory, which I know you can do in the Xbox and the PlayStation, but you can also and I'm not a PC person, so I could be wrong on this, but I believe those memory units for, well, definitely the cards you add to your Xbox, those are proprietary, but I think the hard drives that you add into the PlayStation 5, I think those are specially made. Again, could be wrong. I'm not, because every time I see them on sale at like Best Buy and stuff like that, it says for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. So you can probably get cheaper memory units to upgrade your memory for PC. So just upgrading and not being a lockbox kind of thing like that is very appealing, and I get why PC people do it. But I've always been a console person where I like getting my game and putting it in and it plays, instead of having to reconfigure settings and stuff like that. But again, with all the downloads you now have to do when you buy an Xbox game, when you buy a PlayStation game, to where it's got to update and do all these things to where you put your game in and you maybe get to play it 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour later. I remember when I got Star Wars Battlefront for the PlayStation 4, it took almost all day to install, and it's not like I was running off Wi-Fi. My PlayStation 4 was plugged in Ethernet-wise, and just the game updates and loading the file from the disc to the PlayStation. So, I mean, if I've got to do all that now with console gaming, might as well get a PC, because it's no longer, plug and play kind of thing like that. Like the Switch, you just put a game in, and it might have an update, but it's never a large update, and you can just play it right away. And you don't even have to do the update. You can just start playing your game and update it later, which is why I was always a console person, but now you can't even do that anymore. So just playing consoles is just not the same. So yeah, PC Master Race folks, you finally won me over. This is more than likely my last console generation with the Xbox, with the PlayStation. Probably in the next couple of years, I'm switching over to your side. It's going to start with some sort of handheld PC in the near future, and then I'm going to build my own gaming PC. Probably after Sean goes to college, just so he doesn't have to bug me for it. So, but yeah, that's the podcast. Thank you for hanging out for this Friday edition that goes live with, excuse me, very little editing, so I can get that out there. But let me know what you thought about it. Do you think these Switch leaks are legit? Will you be buying Pirate Yakuza? Actually, I shouldn't say what will you be. What system are you buying Pirate Yakuza on? Because we know this is going to be the best-selling game of all time. So you're going to get it for your Xbox. You're going to get it for your PlayStations. Probably there's going to be a PC port. What are you buying it on? Let me know. Power World, what do you think about that? Concord, is that maybe the biggest disaster in gaming history? I think it might be. It's up there. I think it might be up there as with disasters like the Virtual Boy. And the 30th anniversary PlayStation bundle and items, which go on sale next week, by the way, at the PlayStation Direct Store, September 26th. Should definitely let you guys know that. So are you going to get a new PS Slim? Are you going to get the PS5 that way? Are you trying to pick up one of the controllers? Are you getting the Portal? What are you going to buy from this? Like I said, I'm going to try to get a DualSense. I'm not going to lose sleep over it if I don't get a DualSense, but it's really cool looking and I want one. And like I said, if I didn't have a PS5 and I wanted one, I would probably get the Slim version of those. But yeah, let me know what you think of all this stuff. Are you going to try to be picking up any of these 30th anniversary PlayStation items? And if you are, what are you going to get? So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe are definitely appreciated. But as always, have a great rest of your day. Take care now. Bye.